Adams. I own an independent paper crafting business showcasing products from Stampin' Up! I made this pretty card with products from Stampin' Up! I sell these products and also a few items to make crafting more convenient. I'll have the free detailed directions for this project on my website. You'll be able to click the links for the products to be taken to my online store. You'll see where to find all of that at the end of this video, so don't worry about taking notes. It's time to put stamps, ink, and paper together. A couple of weeks ago I shared this card, and then I showed you a couple of other variations, and I quickly told you how to make those. Today's card is very similar to this one. These cards use the Four Seasons Floral, so I am suggesting that you buy the classic Stampin' Spots. You get a really nice assortment. This includes primarily the brights colors. I have put these together from Stampin' Spots I had on hand, or I inked some uninked Stampin' Spots. So you can get this collection from Stampin' Up! And then there's also the Just Jade and Magenta Madness Stampin' Spots that you can get from our beginner's brochure. And I will be using the Magenta Madness, the Flirty Flamingo, the Basic Gray, and honestly you could use either the Shaded Spruce or the Just Jade for the leaves. You could even use the Granny Apple Green if you'd like. Also in that video I showed you how to cut up some card bases in layers, so let me show you what you do. For each one of these you're going to use the scoring blade. The scoring blade is the lighter color, and you're going to put this cardstock at 4 1/4 inches, and you're going to score and then turn it around this way and put it at 5 1/2 and cut. The darker blade is the cutting blade, and that gives you 2 card bases that fit in our medium-sized envelopes. The other thing you might want to do is cut this to 5 1/2, so this is basically cutting it in half, and trimming off, cutting this actually down to 5 1/4 and 4 and 4 again. So this is 8 1/2. I'm going to cut it down to 4 1/4 and turn and cut these to 2 3/4. And these are very convenient pieces. I use these sizes of cardstock all the time, and you might want to save these strips as well. And very quickly you can give yourself all these card bases in layers. But I also want to show you how I cut up some Whisper White layers. This is actually the thick Whisper White. And these larger layers I'm cutting to 5 by 3 3/4. You want to save these because these are perfect for stamping a greeting and then adding those as a layer on your card. And then the other half of this card I'm cutting to 5 by 4 again. Save these pieces and then stack these up and cut them to 2 1/2. And that gives you 2 small layers to work with. And so these are perfect for layering with the smaller layers and these are perfect for layering with the larger layers. And so I'm going to find my Melon Mambo card base and small layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the roses in basic gray. And I'm going to stamp one of them in the bottom left corner. And then I'm going to stamp this all over around the outside of the card. And I do want to cover up about an inch. On this card you can see there's just about an inch showing around the outside. And you want to go halfway and fill in as many of your little pieces as you can. If you overlap a little bit, don't worry about it too much. This is creating an overall pattern. You do want to turn the stamp all around so that it's not looking like you've stamped them in a row. I'm going to color in this flower with the blender pen and the ink from the ink pads. In this little getting started kit I've put together, I've used the Brights cardstock. We don't have the Melon Mambo Stampin' Spot in this particular kit, so I'm going to use Magenta Madness and Flirty Flamingo together to kind of simulate Melon Mambo ink. I'm using my Flirty Flamingo ink pad to put some ink on there, and then some Magenta Madness over on this corner. And I'm starting with the Flirty Flamingo. And I'm really just coloring in just to put some color all over these roses. And I kind of like that it is, that we are blending the colors. It's not going to be a consistent color for any of it, and that's good. I'm just picking up a little bit of the Magenta Madness, and I'm actually coloring it off to water it down a little bit. And I'm coloring around the outside of the flowers, and as it gets lighter, I'm going to go back and see if I can blend that in. These are not Stampin' Blends, so they're not going to blend as well as Stampin' Blends do. And you don't want to scrub the color in too much, or you'll pull up the paper and make it pill a little bit. So try not to get too carried away here. So I'm toning down the brightness of Magenta Madness and pinking up the Flirty Flamingo to get a little bit closer to my Melon Mambo. And then I'm just kind of looking at it and seeing if I got any place that's a little too pink or a little too dark or whatever. To clean the blender pen, you just scribble off And then either just jade or shaded spruce will work. This card I used shaded spruce, so maybe I'll use just jade for this one. And I just need a little bit, so I'm just stamping a tiny bit on the corner there. Put my palette away, clean my green off. And then I just need to stamp my greeting. This would be good for either a birthday card or a thank you card. So I'm just gonna put my happy birthday up there. The other thing I wanted to show you is I have about 9 inches of the crinkled white ribbon. I'm going to need some more Flirty Flamingo ink here. So I want to color my ribbon, and I'm pulling up primarily the Flirty Flamingo. And it will be a little bit variegated, that's okay. But I do want to add a little bit of the Magenta Madness to get a little bit more pink. With the ribbon though, the texture is not the same as the cardstock, and so there's going to be some variation in the color anyway. And you do want to let this dry. I did do another piece earlier, so it's a little bit more dry. The glue, I put this on with a glue dot, and honestly the glue dots are not sticking as much as I'd like to. I think that the ink is not drying very well because it's very humid where I am right now. So I might try some of the multi-purpose liquid glue. Not always my first choice for ribbons, but it might hold on better. So I will use the Stamp and Seal, and I'm just setting that on my small Melon Mamba layer. Then I do want to use these Stampin' Dimensionals. These are little hexagons with foam and adhesive on both sides, and they really give a lot of pop. I'm using way more than I usually do on this card. Not sure why. You could really get away with just 4 in a corner and maybe 1 in the middle. I don't know why I'm using so many, but they are very inexpensive and a great way to add a lot of pizzazz to a card. So I'm just covering up that. And then we'll try some liquid glue here. Just a dot or two. And this takes a little bit longer to dry than the glue dots, but once it dries it should hold pretty well. And I do want to add a layer to the inside. This is that 3 3/4 by 5, and you could put this in just as it is, but I think I'm going to put just a little bit of rose here down in the corner. And you see I kind of messed up this side, but happily no one will ever know the difference because that will be on the inside of the card. So pretty. And I did not give enough time for this to dry. But there it is, a quick and easy, simple Stampin' card. Here is the web address for this project, where you'll find the free detailed directions and links for the products I used. Under Shop, you'll find products from Bev, frequent shopper points. If you click Products from Bev, you'll find out how to share my Evernote notebook, a completely searchable catalog of all the current products, and I have taggers. You can give a name to each one of those dies I also have a cardstock sampler with all of the current Stampin' Up! Colors. And if you've purchased one in the past, I have an updater with all the brand new in colors. And if you're getting one now, I have a backdater so you can get last year's in colors. And I have a fine tip glue pen replacement tips. So if your glue pen tip gets clogged, just swap it out. I have heavy duty reclosable bags. There are some for the 6x6 papers and some for the 12x12 papers. And you can get a bow maker from my friend Gidget. Under inspiration, you can scroll my projects. You can scroll through the basics. You'll learn what's special about Stampin' Up! Stamps. You can learn about our color families and all the wonderful products that come in the color families. Some ideas for coloring. There's information about cutting, including how I store my card bases and layers. If you're wondering about all of our new adhesives, there's all kinds of information about those and some of my favorite tools. Under Getting Organized, you'll find a link for my stamp case slips, product labels, large labels, case inserts, a lot of color tools, a practically free stamp pad storage solution, catalog tabs, a quick reference, and a wish list with the catalog index, basic toolkit to go, and a little compact desktop tool box. You can tour my craft space. Under color tools, you can make your own cardstock sampler with labels here. There's a DSP divider. And there's a quarter sheet size DSP sampler. I have lots of color charts. I have a sponge dauber case insert, color wheel, a color chart with autocorrect and RGB codes. Under Sip Together, if we ever get a chance to meet in home and craft together, you can find about my next classes, and you can find out how to join my team where you can save money or make money. Almost all of those resources are free. More organization means more time for crafting. Talk to you soon. Bye.